Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say. And today we'll be talking with Lan. Lan's been involved with thrust before. We'll get a little bit more into, when you were an instructor here, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you made your way to the airlines and maybe everything in between. But without getting too far into it, would you mind giving us a brief introduction of who you are?
Sure. My name's Lan. I'm currently a almost new captain at SkyWest Airlines. I was involved with thrust as a flight instructor from, let's say, about November, December 2021 till about January 2024 when I started at SkyWest.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I came to work with Thrust maybe 2 months after you left. It sounds like.
Yeah. So we just missed each other.
If you're listening, on this podcast from week to week, my name is Zach. I do host it. We try to have guests on here that are typically CFIs, flight students, and hopefully airline pilots every so often, and that's why I'm glad to have Lan here. We talk about all things general aviation, flight training, and instructing. And again, sometimes we have Captain on here, so that's nice to have someone to talk to. If you guys are
not that cool.
Yeah, I think you're cool, man. But no, it's gonna be nice to have a little insight just from someone who's working where a lot of these people are aiming to be. So we'll zoom out a little bit though. I'd like to know a little bit more about you.
Sure.
Was there something you were doing before flight training?
Sure. So if you want to go all the way back about how or why I became interested in aviation, Top Gun. Come on.
Awesome.
Obviously, obvious answer, right?
That's so cool. Yeah.
Top Gun. I'm a little older, so when I was 4, I saw that movie, fell in love with the idea of flying, however much a 4-year-old can fall in love with that subject, right?
Yeah.
My mom used to yell at me for stopping on the soccer field to look up at the airplanes flying across the sky.
Oh, really?
It wasn't really until college that I kind of started to see a path towards aviation as a career.
Right.
I went to St. Louis University in St. Louis, Missouri, and luckily, after bouncing around majors a few times, I was lucky that they had a flight program, and I transferred into the flight program there.
Wow.
Got most of my certificates in 2006. I graduated, and then things just kind of went a little bit in a different direction in my life. 2008 happened, if anybody in the past is familiar with 2008.
Yeah.
So I made a pivot towards the medical field.
Okay.
I started medical school in 2011. I graduated in 2016.
Okay.
And then because of other things, I was never able to obtain a residency. And then COVID hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great timing.
COVID hit. It was actually, COVID hit and I came back to aviation. And I have to credit a friend of mine, a high school friend, a college friend, a current friend. He's a first officer at Southwest now.
Awesome.
He's been there for a while. But when things started to lift during COVID, we went out and rented an airplane. And flew around for about 2 hours. He took me on a couple of like King Air flights that he was doing at the time for charter.
Okay.
And that kind of re-engaged my brain towards aviation. So I made the choice to jump right back into it.
Yeah.
And then started researching CFI, where to take CFI, where to do my CFI. Saw that Thrust had an academy. Saw the reviews were pretty positive, but very positive about it actually.
And that was back in 2021.
That was 21. Right? Yeah, I started. If my memory's correct, I started the CFI Academy at Thrust in June of 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, there's a lot to pick apart there.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for being able to put it together that way.
Sure.
And it sounds like in college, when you kind of did shift gears towards like getting some flight training, you made it through commercial.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. That's really cool.
Yes.
And was that like a 4-year thing? And
it was a
4-year
degree. It took me 3 because I transferred in after 2 years of bouncing around other majors.
Right.
I still got the 4-year. I still got a bachelor's in aeronautics, is what they called it back then. But that university did have a 4-year degree program.
Okay, cool.
In aviation.
So when you came here, you were able to kind of pick up at some of the CFI ratings and pick up flying again.
Right, but there was the flying itself wasn't kind of the issue. There was a big difference in technology because when I went through that original training, I was using 6-packs.
Right.
Right. And there's still flight training with 6-packs, which is fine, no big deal.
But we have G1000s.
But we have G1000s
Yeah.
here. So I had to learn how to teach with G1000s.
Yeah.
Having really not, some experience, but not a lot of experience here.
Right.
And so that was an interesting difference that I noticed. Like my GPS in those small airplanes was like this big.
Yeah. Wow.
So, like, oh no, this is. Then as I get into an Archer, I'm like, oh, this is so pretty.
Yeah.
This is so pretty. Oh, we have air conditioning. What is this?
Yeah, and the air conditioning is pretty crazy. And it's nice that it's it's a low wing, so you
Sure.
kind of definitely need a little extra AC is probably nice, but
Sure.
it's not an all glass cockpit either.
Sure.
So it usually holds its own, the air conditioning.
Yeah.
We have Pipers already. We were starting to get Pipers at that point, right?
So when I started instructing here, no. I think we had ordered them, but we hadn't got them. We hadn't got them yet.
Okay.
We were still teaching with the sport cruisers.
Mm-hmm.
We had one G1000.
Okay.
172, 27 Golf Mike, I think it was, or something.
Yeah, we had a couple. We had a handful of Cessnas coming through for a little while.
I remember the first couple of Archers that came through. Actually, the day that they came here, I think Patrick was one of them that flew them here. Yeah, and we were all so excited. And I actually got a chance to fly down to Verona Beach and pick up
ferry
one back, and that was a really, really, really cool experience.
Yeah, that's awesome
for CFI back then.
Yeah, I think one of my peers got to fly with some of the students to fly some back and some of the instructors, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of want to take it one step back into high school, right? I know there's usually a lot of pressure to figure out, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm wondering what's going through your mind when you're trying to choose what you're going to do, knowing that I'm wondering how on your mind flying is.
It was so graduating high school. The reason why I went to SLU was because they had an aerospace engineering program.
Okay.
I didn't know that there was no clear path to becoming a pilot, right? Like I didn't know how I was supposed to do it anyways.
Right.
I just wanted to do something with flying.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, do something with airplanes.
Right.
Right. And aerospace engineering was kind of what I saw was a pathway to that.
Yeah.
It was when I went to the school library and picked up a book called The Mathematics of Orbital Flight.
Yeah.
I was just looking through it and seeing all these, Greek symbols for variables of numbers that just in formulas that were this long.
Wow.
It was like, yeah.
You don't know.
I don't know what that is, so I might as well. So then I started bouncing around to other majors, and again, I'm lucky that the school had the flight program in that, and I had a couple friends in it.
Well, you had a little bit of foresight. It sounds like they know that you were interested in flying enough to go there to be around it. It sounds like you kind of reserved the option.
Right.
So
and it was always in the back of my brain, right?
Yeah. That's what it kind of seemed like. And so I asked that, and then you get your aeronautical degree, and then you kind of pivot towards going to med school, right?
Yeah.
Did you end up working in med school? You said you didn't get to do the residency part.
I didn't get to do the residency part for various reasons, but I never. So I graduated, so I got the degree, but I never actually was practicing.
Right. But then you see an opportunity there to say, okay, if I'm not going to do this, I see, and I'm talking to my friend.
Yeah.
I see an opportunity here coming out of this whole crazy state that we find the world in, and there's obviously a lot of opportunity here because a lot of people aren't working and they need a lot of slots filled.
Yes.
So you're like, I think I'm going to give this a try.
Yeah. It was pretty, like, we jump in the plane. We start at the engine. It was like, oh yeah. I mean, we hadn't even taken off yet. We just literally started the airplane. It was like, oh yeah, I remember this.
And wow, that's awesome.
Just kind of,
it just came back. It kind of made you think that you're like, I can't, because isn't it kind of weird for a feeling to be so vivid but not to have thought about it for a long time.
Right. It's just like it felt absolutely right.
Yeah.
I jumped in the plane. It felt absolutely right, but I hadn't thought about it to that point. Let's call it 13 years.
Wow, but it was so familiar.
11 years, but it was so familiar. It just felt like you just walk, just putting on a really good, nice suit or something. Just
Yeah,
everything just feels right.
that's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if you look back at this time period before you started getting involved back with aviation again, it seems like you had to make a lot of different kinds of choices at a lot of different times, based on a lot of different things, right?
Sure.
And it kind of took you a different route than maybe if you were to try to put it on paper and say what's the most straight route.
Sure.
My question is, would you have done it any differently, or what would you critique yourself on or give your advice for?
Right. If we had to talk about, the med school part,
Mm-hmm.
hindsight, right? We're talking about hindsight and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
If I had not done that,
Mm-hmm.
then I wouldn't have lived in some amazing places, and I
Right.
wouldn't have made some of my best friends to this day still my best friends, right? Now, in terms of the aviation part, if I had not gone to if I'd not done the medical path,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have probably been in a legacy right now, been
Mm-hmm.
on, that trajectory would have been totally different. I don't regret it, but I do think about how things would have been different,
Right. And
right?
so and it's not, and that sounds very normal probably to think
Right,
about it, like, oh, what if I did it differently? And
right.
but why regret it? Because like you said, it took you lots of great places. I guess what if I were to take it even a little further, like even coming out of high school, you're thinking, ooh, should I do that or should I not? Like,
Hmm.
how do I get into this? And like you said, there wasn't a super clear path, especially then. I
Sure,
mean, we have Part 141 accelerated schools
sure,
everywhere now, right?
sure.
But that being said, I'm wondering if you would tell yourself to like what behavior would you have changed about yourself at coming out of high school? Is there a behavior you would have thought, think more about this?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a level of maturity too that we
Yeah.
have to take into account, right? Because
Yeah.
coming out of high school, I mean, I still don't know anything, right? But there's a level of experience that you kind of have to put into account here.
Hmm.
If I told myself coming out of high school that things would turn out like this
Hmm.
with all the stuff that I've done and went through and
Hmm.
all the stress and all that stuff, then I would say it was worth it,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But as it to the point of like a direct path to something, or
Hmm.
however you get to where you are,
Hmm.
I think just try not to regret it.
Mm.
There's no this is thrust, other 141 schools,
Hmm.
it's like a direct path to something,
Right.
right? But at the same time, it's a lot of it is, the things can come up to where it doesn't become a direct path, and you
Right.
have to go with the flow of that too, if that makes sense. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this thrust has a great program, and it's a path to get from zero to CFI, and then eventually the airlines if you want it.
Right.
But there are,
There's no guarantee even
there's no
then.
guarantee, and in that, even you come to thrust, you're still gonna, you still have to work hard, you still have to study hard. There's gonna be roadblocks. There's gonna be, the path isn't just here to here. It's here to here, but then
It's gonna zigzag no
yeah,
matter what. Yeah.
yeah. And so experience, and I don't know if it makes sense, but it's just ride the wave, man.
Yeah.
Like, you make
Exactly.
a choice,
Hmm.
make a choice,
Hmm.
make sure it's the right choice for you,
Hmm.
and then just experience it,
Okay.
right?
That's good. Yeah. And that I think that I would I look back at myself and I think I would have a similar thing to say, which would be that all you can do is put your best foot forward.
Yeah,
Because you don't to what I think to the point of what you're saying, you don't know what the right choice is in the moment all the time.
yeah,
All you can do is the next best thing and ride the wave.
yeah, yeah,
Because I look back and I'm like, man, I couldn't have known anything about what I was trying to do
yeah,
if I didn't just try it anyways.
yeah.
And so I guess I like to ask that question because um, what I'm usually trying to get out of there is, okay, like what did you learn through all of those things
Yeah.
that you ended up doing, and how are you carrying that with you now?
Sure. I will tell you that when I made the choice to come back to flying, I didn't know how it was going to end up,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
I was like, okay, we went on those flights. I want to go back to flying. What's the next step? I've got my commercial certificates. Well, now I have to get my CFI.
Right.
So, like I said before, I looked around the DFW area, what schools are providing CFI services.
Right.
And Thrust was one of the top ones that came up. And, the ground school was this long, and then they give you however many flight, whatever.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it was a CFI Academy and had great ratings. So I came in, had a look, decided it was for me,
Sweet.
did see it, and then went through it. This was this was the point where I actually kind of, I don't want to say falling in love with the company is kind of cliche, but it was just like holy, this place is really cool. Everybody seems to be gelled. The one of the guys that I met, he's at United right now. He's one of my really good friends.
Yeah.
Even to this day, it's like we helped each other out. Like I felt that off the get go. Like the ZTA students, I wasn't ZTA, but the ZTA students included me into the CFI study sessions and stuff like that. So there was a big community here that I was just like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
You know,
after going through all the different things you have already worked through. Yeah. Especially
I'm not knocking 61 flight schools, but there's no, everybody's individualistic there. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
And Thrust was very community oriented.
Yeah.
Or at least the students, there was an air of the students gelling together for a common goal of going through ratings.
Right.
And certificates. And so I really appreciated that about the company. And then once I got my CFI, I was like, I'm going to apply to this company. I'm going to see what happens. Yeah. I had realistically, I didn't know where I was going to go after getting CFI.
Yeah.
Or CFII. I was like, okay, I'm going to give Thrust a try. I'm going to apply and let's see what happens.
Yeah. And is that different than how you were making decisions before? Do you think that you were trying to put your ducks in a row more often before than that moment?
Oh yeah, especially in med school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just that period of my life, I was trying to just really, really control that aspect, that element of it, because I had made the decision to do it. Right.
Yeah,
I made the decision to go to med school.
Yeah. So you want to be.
I want to be in control.
Proactive.
Yeah.
At least.
Exactly.
And I can but in this scenario, when you're applying, when you're getting your CFI training and you're going to apply as a CFI, I mean, you're not thinking. It doesn't seem like you're trying to be. You're still being proactive.
Right.
But you're not thinking so far ahead.
No.
Which some people. I mean, it's an interesting thought process.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like being okay. So. Going to the regional or going to the airlines was my goal, but it wasn't
still wasn't a clear path.
It wasn't a clear path. I was just like, okay, I'm going to get CFI. I'm going to try to get hired somewhere to be a flight instructor. Luckily, I got hired at Thrust.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to start teaching students. Yeah. I'm not gonna I'm going to teach I'm going to instruct to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my hours eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm going to focus on the here and now, right here and now, and when it becomes my time to apply and eventually be hired, then it'll come.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Perhaps you could make the argument that in aviation it's a little bit more clear cut because there is this kind of linear path from student to instructor to professional pilot, and then beyond.
Yeah.
But you can't control the time frame at which that happens.
I think that's that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right?
It's a little bit more linear, but it also is the time frame itself is a little less controllable or linear.
Yeah. So, if as an instructor, I was like, I'm going to do my best for my students and I'm not going to think about when I'm going to get that, in my case, 1,250 hours or that 1,500 hours I know it's going to come.
Right.
But I'm just not going to worry about making it come sooner or later about when it actually shows up.
I think that's a good frame. Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to frame it because I've talked to a lot of people, obviously, on this podcast. I mean, we're over 100 episodes in now. But there's a lot of people who change careers and come into the school either from zero time or from at least they had their private sometimes and they do the finish line program, which is, by the way, what we have now is if someone's struggling to finish up their private at 61, sometimes they'll come here and pick up where they left off and, Right. But that being said, I've talked to a lot of people who change careers and there's always this moment of it almost sounds like a similar thing where they're trying to kind of control things and they're really trying to figure it out and maybe it almost feels a little forceful at times. But by the time they've started here after changing careers, they're like, look, man, I'm just going to do the next right thing and I'm not going to rush it. I'm just going to do the best I can. And I feel like for those people, from what as I relate to how you're saying it
Yeah.
anyways, it seems like the change is like goes from trying to control time to controlling what you can do
Right.
in the time that you have in the
Right.
moment. And you said a moment ago, like right here and right now. And to me, that sounds like the biggest change in your mindset in that moment.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly
Yeah.
it. And to be fair here too, people that change careers, like we don't know what everybody's motivation is, right? Or
Mhm.
everybody's stresses are.
Yeah.
Family, kids,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So in that regard of, they may have other things that on their mind that make them try to push the time frame, push the
The result
the
to come sooner,
results,
probably, right? Like,
right?
yeah, I can see
Right.
that.
And then, but as you said, you saw the switch.
Hmm.
You see the switch
Yeah.
when it's like, okay, I have something in front of me
Hmm.
that I need to concentrate on, and you see it. You can see that where it's just like the
Yeah.
concentration all of a sudden becomes okay, this, and then okay, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then
And I guess
eventually,
that's why I like the way you had framed it, because something about, I guess that's exactly that about aviation that is nice for people like that who are wanting to kind of get the result they're looking for in a certain amount of time. Here, it's almost like it forces you to just focus on the now
yeah,
and to trust the rest of the time
yeah,
to pass the way it does. And I think that could be a great benefit, a great side benefit outside of gaining a good career and enjoying what you're doing,
sure,
is to kind of switch up your mentality to think about how you're achieving a goal a
sure,
lot differently than you might have tried to before.
sure,
And I could relate to that myself. I'm
yeah.
a little bit, I'm like, I want to make it happen.
Right, right. It's very
So,
type A, and,
yeah.
and it's very type A. And
Yeah.
let's be, or not again, but let's be fair here too.
Yeah.
Pilots are typically type A. Like
Hmm.
I love flying my airplane. I want to be in control of my airplane.
Hmm.
Um, we're type A people,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's kind of a hard thing to do. Is just kind of not sit back,
Right.
but work towards a goal that you don't know when that goal happens.
Right.
You know,
It's a different experience to
yeah,
think about it that way.
yeah. What is
That's
it?
cool.
That line in Heat. It's the juice, not the, or it's the.
How does it go?
For
Yeah.
me, it's the juice. It's the
Yeah.
action, right?
Okay.
It's working towards a goal.
Yeah.
That
That's awesome.
is fun. If it's a weird word.
No, I think that's a good way to kind of figure out how, because I always like to uncover what it is that kind of happened in your mind when you started flight training.
Mm.
And I think for me, it seems as if you were able to kind of like just check into the moment,
Yep.
and kind of put one foot in front of another
Yeah.
again, and go for something that you've been wanting to do for a long
Yeah.
time, which
Yeah.
is really cool. So congratulations,
Nice.
even now if it's a little late now.
And it
but
hasn't, and
yeah.
it hasn't been a smooth path too. I mean, the medical thing notwithstanding,
Yeah.
it hasn't been a smooth path either, because I do have failures,
Yeah.
checkride failures.
Right.
So, getting over those is also a part of the story,
Yeah.
and part of the how I molded my mentality. So we can talk that whenever, but
No, I would love
that's
to,
fun.
because one of the most common questions, and since you brought it up, I will
Mhm.
ask. One of the most common questions, especially for our airline guests, tends to be in the comments, written as, "What happens if you get if you fail a check ride? Does that hurt your chances of getting a job and things like that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
I know you can only speak on it so much,
Right.
but
Well, no, because my two training as my instrument rating and my initial commercial rating, but this was back in 2006, so it's
Okay.
over 20 years ago. So,
Yeah.
But in terms of check ride failures, those questions will come up in
Hmm.
airline interview, in the process of airline interviews.
Right.
Be honest. Be honest. The only like, do not hide it. Do not lie about it. Be honest about it when asked. Put it on your application. Be honest about it when asked, and then tell them what happened. But the most important part is tell them what you learned from it.
Mm.
How did you get over that? You were disappointed.
Right.
You were, it felt like a gut punch. It was a gut punch. Like the air just, gets sucked out of you.
Yeah.
Be honest about it. What did you learn from it? What did you do after? Because my most recent one, I will admit, it was a training failure for when I was starting out as getting trained as an FO.
Okay.
In SkyWest, we have AQP,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a failure in what's called maneuvers validation, and I thought that was the end of my world.
Wow.
Like I thought that was the end of my aviation career, and I walked out of the sim building back to the hotel just in a really despondent state. Just oh god, this is done.
Yeah.
Sulked on it for a night. Luckily, and this I credit this happening towards pulling me out of that, and then being able to continue on. Is that it was like a day or two after that I had makeup sims scheduled. I'd already had, the training department of SkyWest is awesome.
Right.
They had already scheduled me for some extra sim sessions to get to have before my next validation.
Right.
And I was like, okay, we have a goal now. We have something to focus on. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in sorrow because of that's done. That was yesterday. Now, tomorrow is a sim session that I have to focus on.
Okay.
Grab my bearings back, evaluate what I did wrong, and go into that next one and try to fix it.
Awesome.
I had a goal. I had something to do.
Right.
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 And so, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So in terms of certificate failures, training failures, it's not the end of the world. Do your best, and if you have one, figure out what went wrong.
Right.
And the next day, go right back at it and try to fix that.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And focus on that.
You when you talked about that experience just now, and kind of talk about the failure of a something you were training on, and the same way that I've heard other people talk about failures on check rides and how they have to bounce back from them, it almost feels really cliche what there is to take out of that. It's like you learn from your failures and you move on. And the cliche thing to say, it almost sounds like would be that, like, your advice is, it just kind of represents how to handle failure.
Sure.
I feel like.
Sure. And I've heard that from recruiters as well.
Yeah.
From airline hiring departments, that it's, the clear, like, the failures are how you become resilient, and when you learn the most when you fall, right?
Right.
This is how you learn the subject matter, for one, in a detail that you wouldn't have thought. But two, in your own kind of mentality and the way you think and your maturity, like that just it brings it to the next level. So, for obviously you don't want a lot. You don't want like multiple upon multiple check failures. But one, or just because one, two, I mean, bounce back, come back, study, go over what you missed. Don't fall into this pit, and then when it becomes time to explain it, be honest about it and tell them what you learned.
Right. It seems like since that's the better option, the worst option is implied to be to talk about it like it didn't happen, or it wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't even something that you should have learned from. No. It seems like that's the bigger failure.
Brushing it off is not the way to go.
Yeah.
That's not something you should.
So that's not what you're saying. It's not that it doesn't matter. What matters is that if it happens, is to learn something from it.
Yeah.
So that's
every
good.
stumble is a way to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you were saying, exactly. It teaches you. I learn mostly from doing things the wrong way. That's how I am, for sure.
Yeah.
Could you tell me, before we move on, could you tell me a little bit about, if you can, anyways, recall your check ride failure back in I don't know, when you said 2007-ish or something.
Oh, those way back then.
Could you recall an experience of what it felt like, and if you did anything specific about it? It's been a while.
Just like, in terms of what do you mean? What it felt like when I got the news that it would happen?
Yeah, I kind of want to understand your experience about when you went through a check ride and failed, and then how you handled it.
Oh, I mean, I was nervous on those. I've been nervous. Everybody's nervous during check rides, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I've been talking about on this subject matter. Is I was very despondent.
Yeah.
It's just, really kind of angry with myself. And
Yeah.
how did I let that happen type deal.
And
Um,
was it that you, do you remember if you had gone in to meet with your CFI at the time and maybe you were like, didn't get enough sleep or you were overly nervous? Do you
um,
remember what it was that you messed up?
I do remember what it was that messed up, but that particular that particular procedure isn't really used anymore.
Okay.
So NDBs, it was on an NDB, which
Okay.
if anybody know what that is,
What
then
is it going to be if you don't mind me asking?
non-directional beacon, I think, if I remember
Non-directional
right.
beacon.
Basically, it's like a big lighthouse, and you
Uh-huh.
have this instrument that always points to it,
Okay.
and there are like holding procedures and approach procedures that used to be based off of it.
Hmm.
I don't remember what exactly I did wrong with it, but I'm pretty sure it was on that.
Yeah.
And I remember going to my, giving my CFI the bad news, and then, just again feeling awful about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it was either the next day or the next lesson that we had together.
Yeah.
It was, okay, this is what we're going to fix. Let's go out and fix it.
Right.
And then, you know, figure out if there's any other weak spots.
Yeah.
And then
So,
sign up. Like, we'll get you signed off for it again.
yeah.
And yeah, so that was, even though that was a while ago, it was just, I just remember it being one of those things where
Yeah.
it's just, okay, this happened. We're going to do this
Keep
to
going.
fix it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Time to move on.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
So
I think it means a lot coming from an airline pilot. That's why I say that. And someone who's been able to like manage your, you've moved along in your career to become an airline pilot.
Yeah.
So people have asked that a couple of times. And obviously can't go in there willy-nilly thinking, if I fail, it doesn't matter. That's not the point.
no,
It's
no.
saying that if you do fail, it's okay. As long as you handle it appropriately,
Yeah.
then everything's okay.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah, typically.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I wanted to say that you helped us with some of our videos in the past
Mhm.
before I was here,
Mhm.
and I think we still get comments on these. Actually, people are like, "Oh, thank you so much for sharing that," because you were talking about hypoxia and like motion sickness and things like that. And I don't know, maybe you're. I have. To, I don't think I've actually watched the video.
That's fine.
But I'm
It's not that bad.
imagining that the reason people find them useful and the reason you were able to talk about them in a way that people find useful is because you maybe did some med school.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Is let's say someone comes in for a discovery flight and they know they've wanted to fly, they've been interested in this for a while, they look
Sure.
up at the planes, they watch the videos, and
Sure.
they read the stuff online,
Sure.
and they come in, they do discovery flight, and they feel discouraged afterwards because they're like, man, can I really feel that way every day?
Right.
Should I even really consider this?
Right.
What would you say to someone like that?
Like, what do you mean? Like, feel like they're
Maybe-
nauseous or something like
Yeah,
that?
they're
right?
nauseous
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
So, I remember actually to that point. I remember because when I started flying, like
Mhm.
training, I guess I maybe had one general aviation flight when I was a kid. No
Mhm.
other. Like we jumped in. Like I jumped into that school and started flying.
Wow.
I do remember getting nauseous. So, discovery flight. Person comes into discovery flight. They have the passion for it, and this is a key. That's very important too.
Yeah.
They, there's a passion there, but then they go on the flight and they start getting nauseous and they wonder if it's for them. Okay. Cool. Try it again.
Mhm.
But this time, instead of being on a discovery flight, and I mean it's a discovery flight, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, everything is so cool. Like you're looking around everywhere.
Mhm.
You're just like everything's so new. There's sounds and vibrations. There's a big beautiful screen in front of you with symbols and colors that you've never seen before and you don't understand. There's just information overload.
Okay.
Right? When you start training and you start to focus, I need to keep this heading. I need to keep this altitude. I need to keep this, I need to keep, this wing straight and level and turn, move out of the way of other aircraft, stuff like that. When the training starts and you're focusing on tasks, your brain starts ignoring the stuff that causes nausea.
Right.
You'll notice less and less of the turbulence. You'll notice less and less. I actually had a student that he for about 2 weeks straight, he first few lessons we had bags. second, the first third of lessons we had bags. The second, the middle part of it, we still had bags, but he was not vomiting as much.
Right.
And then just over the course of time, like he was kind of he just stopped being nauseous at all because we were concentrating on tasks.
Wow.
Like we were making his mind ignore the vibrations, the noise. He was getting used to it.
He was adapting.
He was adapting to it. So if a discovery flight person were to have that passion, then that's another key point too. But have that passion to come do a discovery flight and then think that it's not for them because of one experience. Well, focus, like come back, and then we'll start flight instructing, and then we'll start focusing your mind on tasks at hand, and I pretty much guarantee you that'll help.
Wow.
Help alleviate that.
Right, and it doesn't have to be the end of the road.
It doesn't have to be the end of the road.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's everybody gets nauseous. I got nauseous.
Yeah.
Everybody, like it's flying is one of the most unnatural things that humans can do.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why I love it, because I'm also I'm a certified scuba diver as well. I haven't gone in a long time, but
something about pilots and certified scuba divers.
Dude, like it's the most unnatural thing that, like, we didn't evolve to fly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it beautiful. We weren't made to go anywhere from 1,000 feet to 35,000 feet up in the air and travel at galactic speeds, right?
Yeah.
And so they give it a shot.
Yeah.
See, like, go a little bit further along, and then see,
mm-hmm.
Because the flying part of it isn't the only part of it, right? There's the academic side of it. There's
absolutely.
There's a whole other list of things. So one discovery flight isn't gonna.
This is other factors.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller factor than you would imagine
Yeah.
to be. And I could see how I would think that if I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, well, if I get nauseous on a flight, then how am I supposed to get through? I mean, man, that's small comparison to the things that you're going to actually be challenged with.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to put that. Yeah. I would not have thought that.
Yeah.
Well, you hear it, guys, by the way, if you don't know what a discovery flight is, it's like a test drive. You get to feel how the plane feels in the sky when you're flying with the certified flight instructor. Put your hands on the yoke, your feet on the rudders. It's cool. It's pretty cool.
I got to do a few of those when I was an instructor, and it was always fun seeing everybody's eyes light up, just like, ooh, this is what this world is like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it didn't even hit me the first time I went up in a couple times. I went up in a Cessna, I went up in a Piper and a Seminole. Before I ever even did what felt more like a discovery flight, I was flying with someone I was flying with someone here at Thrust for a video, and he's like, yeah, man, here, take the controls. You're gonna help me land. You're gonna help me with the approach. I was like, what are you talking about? And so he had me put my hands on the yoke and on the rudders, and they just keep it stable. And I was like, oh, it's so different than just riding in the plane. It is not the same.
Oh no.
It unlocks so many other like thought processes. There's so many more things connecting in my brain than I would have even considered by just riding in it.
Well, let's think about this way. For your line of work, when you were a passenger, you were doing it for video purposes.
Right.
When you were doing with instructor by yourself, you were still doing it for video purposes. But again, too, you weren't thinking about making videos when you were flying that airplane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
You were just like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, this is new.
Yeah, I was focused on something different.
Yeah.
To your point. And anyways, I like to say that because I want people to know that if you've flown in one and you haven't touched the controls yet, you still haven't quite experienced a discovery flight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. Will, our last airline pilot, that he used to be he went through the entire ZTA program with us. He used to do a lot of discovery flights for us. It was pretty cool. And recently we had a lot of high school students that partnered with UNT.
Yeah.
They came here and we gave them all discovery flights.
Nice.
So that was pretty exciting because we got to give a lot of like young people their first experience.
Yeah.
And a Piper Archer is really cool.
Yeah.
They don't know that the Piper Archers are awesome, probably, but maybe they do. Maybe that's why they're in the program.
So it's a great airplane.
Okay, so I'd like to move forward a little bit.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about your training. We talked about thrust. We talked about kind of how you got to where you're at now.
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit about where you're at though.
Yeah.
it's been a journey to become a pilot, no matter who you are.
Sure.
I'm wondering in your scenario, or does it get boring? Is it what you think it is? I mean, what can you tell me a little bit about the lifestyle? And I say that you can maybe just break it down into like a day in a life or something. So,
Okay. Does it get boring? I can answer that, and I can say yes and no.
yeah,
We try to make. You never want to be excited as a captain, especially
right.
in an airliner,
Okay.
like when you're flying, because it's something has happened, something has gone wrong to where you're not, to where you have to respond to it. You're stressed, right? Like I don't want to be stressed, right?
Right.
So we do the standard operating procedures, right? SOPM, our standard operations procedures manual, FARs, flight operations manual. Everything that we do I fly the CRJ, so every flight is as regimented and as legal and as boring as possible because that's safety.
Okay.
Right. My primary concern is them in the back, this guy sitting to my right, and the two flight attendants back there as well. Like, I'm gonna do everything in my power to not make this flight exciting, because that's not good.
Okay.
Right. So is it boring? And I would still say no, because I'm still thinking about every flight. I'm thinking about how to make this flight safe,
right,
and on time, and and making the flight happen to where everybody gets from here to here
right,
safely.
So that doesn't mean that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's great. It's massively enjoyable. It's massively enjoyable. So in my airplane, I have the privilege of taxiing. I get to drive it sounds strange coming from a pilot that one of my favorite things to do is actually drive the airplane around the airport.
That's awesome.
Like on the taxiway. So weird. But it's kind of, I get a kick out of doing it every time. So we get pushed back and we taxi out to the runway. I'm driving it with my left hand.
I did not know that. Yeah. And, what aircraft is that?
It's the CRJ. Well, type rated in the CRJ 200, 550, 700, and 900. I'm based out of Detroit. So I'm usually flying the CRJ 900.
Okay.
But yeah, with my left hand, I'm driving the airplane around.
That's awesome.
I get a kick out of it every time. And then we go to takeoff, right? Line up for takeoff. Push the thrust levers forward. You kind of feel that kick.
Yeah.
Kick, and there it goes. Okay, that's cool. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Then take off and climb. Just monitoring the instruments in the airplane, making sure everything's going fine. Cruise. People say cruise is one of the most boring times, because you're up at 30,000 feet, 35,000 feet, and you're on autopilot because the autopilot flies better than you. But I mean, the scene you just can't beat. Yeah. Sometimes if it's too clear of a day, that sun just comes really through those flight deck windows. So we put covers up. But if it's like right at dusk and there's cloud layers that are cloud layers and the sun is setting, it's orange, it's blue, it's pink, it's purple.
Yeah.
I mean, that you can't, the scenery changes every single day. And you can't tell me that gets boring.
Yeah.
Like, the old adage to where, pilots typically get in trouble as kids because they're staring out windows and teachers are yelling at them. Well, I'm staring out a window at 35,000 feet watching the sunset going westbound at galactic speeds and seeing cloud buildups with colors that I can't even describe.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me that gets boring. Come on.
That's awesome. And I didn't know this about pilots when I first started with thrust. I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I'd never thought about it, but maybe I have more in common with a pilot than I would have thought. I mean, I was the kid looking out the window and stuff. I mean, I never really thought about flying. I like the things that I do, but Yeah, that's I can see the lineage
Yeah,
of how a pilot becomes a pilot now
yeah,
at this point,
yeah,
and that's awesome that you describe it that way. And I think that's a really clear way to put it that I wouldn't have thought about it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess
I'm
I'm a
still,
pilot.
and then I get to work with some amazing people,
Yeah.
right? Um, the pilot community or the aviation aircrew community is small, and
Mhm.
we have each other's back.
Right.
So I get to work. I get to have phenomenal FOs and phenomenal flight attendants that I get to work with um, on a daily basis.
That's awesome. Yeah.
In a company and a good company to work for.
Now that you're flying as a captain
Mm-hmm.
now, right? I think a lot of people wonder about the transition from CFI to first officer, from first officer to
Mm-hmm.
captain, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
because you're once you get a CFI position, you're like, wow, what a relief. Because when you're going through flight training, it's very competitive,
Right.
especially right now in 2026. It's
Right.
going to be very competitive. Let's say that someone wants a little insight about the transitioning into the airlines, and then on. Could you tell a little bit about your experience?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, going to flying an Archer to flying a jet is probably the toughest training I've done.
Wow.
Because it it's just it's a different type of flying. We try to standardize it as much as we can.
Right.
Make it the same thing day in and day out as much as we can, which is
Mhm.
fine. But it's just there was I wouldn't say it was. I mean, even though I had that fear, I wouldn't say it was difficult for me. Well, okay, yeah, it was. Just it's like drinking out of a fire hose
Every time.
every day,
Yeah.
right? So I got in February 12th of 2024 was when I started training in Salt Lake, and then I think I finished. Let's see, I think it was in April,
Yeah.
in mid-April, and every day felt like drinking out of a fire hose. But actually, yeah, this is a good way to this is a good story to tell. There were 17 of us
Hmm.
in my class starting that February 12th. And pretty much within the first couple of days, we all realized the mountain that was in front of us.
Hmm.
And we all coalesced.
Yeah.
We started study groups. We started, studying with each other, not on our own.
Hmm.
Which brings me back to thrust method of doing it and
Right.
why I was attracted to thrust in the first place. There was a sense of community here. People help each other out. Students help each other out. Flight instructors help each other out. Especially, when I first started as a flight instructor here, I had so many questions. I didn't know. I mean, I have the certificate, but it doesn't mean I know what I'm doing.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So the best thing I could have done was ask a more experienced flight instructor, "Hey, what do you think about this? How should I do this? Or I'm unclear about this particular method of teaching or this particular procedure."
Right.
Being open and I don't want to say vulnerable, but being open and saying and acknowledging what you know and what you don't know, and making sure that what you don't know you learn
Right.
and then I eventually learned to be a flight instructor and stage check instructor, and so just the experience came along. Same thing with making the transition to the airlines, to the
Hmm.
regionals. We knew when we sat down and saw the mountain in front of us, we were like, oh, let's what you know first off, let's circle the wagons. We're going to get together. We're
Yeah.
going to help each other out. Secondly, we reached out to other people that have gone through the program before
Right.
and asked them for advice. Hey, what do this particular procedure, this company policy, or what does this mean? What does that mean? Classes ahead of us that
Hmm.
had gone, like, not even just months ahead of us, like the direct class ahead of us,
Yeah.
had gone through what we had gone through the previous before, and we asked them questions.
Right.
What does this mean? What does that mean? So the transition is, as I said, like drinking water of a fire hose.
Yeah.
But it's doable. People have done it before. I've
Mhm.
done it. You can't do it without help.
Yeah. And it sounded like you were proactive
Yeah,
about getting the help.
we all were.
Yeah.
We all were. So, um, And so that helped immensely with that kind of a transition. Now, don't get it twisted. Sometimes I still get imposter syndrome. I can't believe it's like, I've got 4 stripes on my shoulders. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
That feeling never really goes away from me.
Yeah.
Even when I was starting out as an FO, like it took me a while to be like, oh my gosh, I'm a airline pilot.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But it's doable. So it's a difficult transition, but it's not. But it's a standardized training program at all regionals, and people pass it.
Yeah.
People make it through
and
successfully.
It makes me wonder, was there something that you felt like you did well in order to help prepare you to move past FO into being a captain? I mean, is it a matter of timing and knowledge, or
no? I mean, experience. Get the minimum is 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
Of turbine time or time at your airline, or at least at our airline it is. I wouldn't say so much that it was a matter of being ready or not. It's the next step. And that being said, when I got to upgrade training in March, that feeling of, oh, this is the mountain, came right back.
Right.
But then there were, I think, 30 or 40 of us. We circled the wagons again. I mean, first day we started a WhatsApp group and just like texting each other. Even today, that group chain exists. Like, because we're new at the job, we text each other questions. Hey, I have a question about this maintenance procedure, or what should I do here? We reach out to each other. Yeah. And so we're not alone.
Right.
We have resources that we can reach out to. So if I don't know something, I have resources I can reach out to. And I think that's the most important way to get over, or at least a very important tool to be able to get over that initial feeling of inadequacy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Because I think that's the power of community anyways, actually. It's the collective being able to allow you to not feel alone. And I think that a lot of times, the fuel to feeling alone, to feeling inadequate is like being alone in whatever it is you feel inadequate
facing
about.
A challenge alone is what can result in that. And
it's weird because logically there's not really anything about being together that you could really argue makes you more adequate than you were before.
Well, yeah, right. And in terms of skill set or or anything, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you just technically have more resources and feel less alone.
It's a shared suffering. How about that? Like, you're not the only one that's stressed out, and
then maybe it changes the bar of thinking about what inadequate is, because usually when you think we're inadequate, maybe it's in comparison to other people.
Right.
But when you realize we're all in like not too different of a place.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a regular.
When we all suck.
Yeah. Right. Then
we can move on. Yeah. And we know it. Then
Yeah.
But yeah, and so
that's good.
To answer your questions about the transitions from CFI to first officer and then to captain, everybody's going to feel like they can't hack it, but you got people around. Everybody else feels like they can't hack it. So why don't you you might as well just come together and hack it together.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty simple way to put it. I think a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, I think that's everyone thinks it's going to be very different on the next step, and not the next step, and at the next step. But what I hear every time is that it's drinking from a water hose, and that you band together to come through it, and that you put your best foot forward, and then when you fail, you put your next best foot forward.
And that's exactly the point. Like the thought that going from CFI to a jet pilot is a major step. Let's not get it twisted, right? It is
absolutely.
It is very, very different. But how did you become a CFI? Well, you studied with a bunch of people. How do you become a jet pilot? Well, you help each other out. You study with a bunch of people. How do you become a captain? Well, you start like you
the behavior is technically the same.
You learn, So
that's good input. Thank you for that. I'll keep that in mind too. I feel like there's a lot to take out of that. And I've always wanted to try to share that with the students. We haven't really got to have too much of that conversation. We've talked a little bit about the training with some
Sure.
other guests, but
Sure.
that's great. When you're flying with different pilots, because you're obviously going to be flying with different pilots almost every time.
Every trip. Yep.
Every now and then you might run across someone another once more.
Sure.
But when you're flying with a pilot that you haven't met, are there things that stand out to you that makes you think, wow, man, this guy's really got it together? What comes off as positive to you when you fly with a new pilot?
Right. So let's start off with this. Yes, we do fly with I fly with a new FO and new flight attendants every trip, every 3 or 4 day trip.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know that because they're in that seat, that they have passed through all the training, and that I can break out our standard operating procedure manual on my iPad. That this is the way they're going to do it, from checklist, from flows to call outs. It's all standardized in this document.
Right.
So from getting to the airplane, the originating check, to shutting down the airplane, the terminating check, everything in between is something that they have passed already.
Right.
All the things that I mentioned before. So I know that they know what they're doing in that. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's all standardized. So I know that at least they've been certified to do it.
Absolutely.
The question was, how do I know they're going to be a good FO or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if there's some things that come across. The real question, well, I mean, you've kind of answered that. You know everyone's capable. I'm wondering if there's any traits that stick out from certain officers that you're like, oh, I'm great to have a pilot that does X, Y, and Z. What are those kind of things? I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
What kind of behaviors are you glad for them to have?
Just professionalism.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a broad word, but it honestly applies to almost every FO I've flown with.
Yeah.
And when I was an FO, every captain, most of the captains I've flown with, we were all professional, and our primary concern was safety and make sure the flight happens without anything happening. How do I know? How do I know? I don't seek out traits, right? I hope to think that people think I'm an easygoing guy, but I can deal with differing personalities.
Okay.
I don't know. I think just being personable.
Yeah.
Because I know you can fly.
Yeah.
Now I have to spend 3 or 4 days with you.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy the time, and let's be personal. We can talk. If we don't talk, that's fine. But
Yeah.
It's just I don't know how to answer that question, because I fly with so many different people and so many different personalities.
You don't have a certain type of expectation.
No, not really. Because okay, I guess the expectation is that they know what they're doing.
Right.
But I know that they know what they're doing because they're
here.
They're here. They're sitting next to me.
Yeah.
They passed training. They passed IOE and OOE. And from there, I haven't been a captain for very long, but every single FO that I've had has been up to par or beyond.
Yeah.
And every single FO I have so far has been personable. So
that's awesome.
Looking for quality traits and somebody I want to fly with, or looking. Okay, how about I answer the question of what do I look for in an FO that I want to fly with?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the primary one is that being personable.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to be talkative, but just be professional, have respect, especially for the flight attendants, because none of us in front can unless the ones that were flight attendants before. Yeah. But I don't know what they have to deal with back there.
It's a lot. I feel like when I'm riding back there, I see them dealing with it. So
yeah. So respect your coworkers, respect the people around you and your peers. And we'll get along just fine. Yeah. Be professional.
Simple enough.
And we'll get along just fine.
Yeah, simple enough. And I like that you don't even I like the point that you don't have to worry too much about what is standard, because the standard is that they're going to come in there, they're going to be professional, they're going to know exactly what they're doing, they're going to be able to run the SOP.
I can show you a document that says you need to do this exactly this, or this part of this flight exactly this way, and
they got it.
Obviously, there's wiggle room, but not it's not wildly outside the bounds.
Exactly, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha. Right. No, that's good. That's a good take. And I think that's kind of cool to know that you can walk into work every day and people people know their P's and Q's.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that's what it's about, and it's about safety.
Why wouldn't they be here?
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense to me. Well, then the last question I have for you is: would you have any advice to any current student in some sort of flight school that's sort of let's say they're just getting started and they feel like they're drinking out of a water hose, and they're like, man, did I
make the right choice?
Right. Like, and then they know they wanted to, but they're like, wow, this is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, and it's gonna keep happening. Private pilot, you're learning ground school, you're learning slow flight sea turns. Like every day seems the mountain's getting steeper and steeper. And then you go into instrument, and now all of a sudden, okay, you're flying straight and level, but you have to, follow rules, and you have to follow certain rules, and fly approaches and like the different type of flying. And then you go into commercial, and then you go into multi, and then you go into CFI, double I, MEI, and then go. It's just going to continue on. Mm-hmm. That feeling of inadequacy, or that feeling that you can't do it. If you want it, you can. But don't think that you have to do it alone. If you, I don't know if, I'm going to put a caveat this. I don't know if I can say this on camera. I don't know if you're going to put into it, because but I'm just going to say it, and then you can edit it out later.
Okay, we'll double check it.
I have run into people that, especially recently, that have come into this industry because it's a good job. It's a good career, and it's a great job. It's a great career, right? Don't get it twisted. But they come into it thinking about the end goal and not how to get there. You see what I mean?
Yes.
See what I mean?
That's what they're doing.
Right. And so I can tell I could tell those people. I could tell those students. Like I could figure that out.
Right.
The ones that are struggling and are passionate about it are the ones that
they're not those people.
They're not those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you are struggling and you feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose, but there's something that you want to do and you feel it, to those people I say, one, it's been like, you're not alone. People have done it in the past. People are behind you are going to feel the same way. People in front of you felt it. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen again and again over your career, but how you get over it is know that there are people around you that are also feeling the same thing. Circle the wagons.
Right.
Reach out. Help each other out.
And know that I think that to your point, it sounds like if you feel like you're drinking out of a water hose and you want to do it, then you're probably doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You're probably in the right place.
And also, everybody else is drinking out the same fire hose. Maybe a different part, and maybe that part of the fire hose that they're drinking, they can tell you how to drink out of that part of the fire hose. You see what I mean? You break up the tasks, and then teaching, right, is one of the best ways to learn.
Yeah.
You teach each other the whole picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think that's the primary advice I would give to somebody that's just starting out and feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That you're not alone. Just circle the wagons.
Yeah, circle the wagons. I love that. Yeah. Thank you again for sitting down with us today to talk about your journey so far and where you're at, and giving us a little bit of insight on through at least your experiences. I think the idea here is that we get to speak anecdotally and have a conversation and allow people to kind of sit in with us, and hopefully I'm doing a good job for you guys who are listening at home or watching on your phones or computers. If you guys would ask different questions, if I missed any opportunities, let me know. I'd love a little bit of feedback because we're going to keep doing this. Again, thank you, Lan, for sitting down today and joining us on this episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say and we'll be doing this every week. My name is Zach. We talk about all things general aviation, including instructing, training, and the occasional airline pilot. We'll see you guys next week.